Hi, you're on the This Is Crime channel. I'm Matilda. Listen to my new story. Fred and Rosemary West are the most abusive couple in history. Fred West was born into a farming family of Walter and Daisy West in the small town of Muchmarkel, Hertfordshire. His father and mother did not live too rich. They had to bring up 6 children. In studies, Fred never excelled, and already at the age of 15 decided to leave school. Little Fred with his sisters. When Fred was 17, he was in a motorcycle accident and was in a coma for a week. After that, he had several surgeries, but he was never able to completely get rid of the consequences of the accident. As a result of the accident, one of his legs became shorter than the other. But the worst thing is that Fred began to have sudden outbursts of aggression. After another 2 years, West fell from a fire escape and was unconscious for 2 days. His mental state deteriorated badly. At the age of 19, the guy was first arrested for harassing a 13-year-old girl. After this incident, the family turned away from Fred, and his mother sent him to live with his sister Violet. In 1962, 21-year-old Fred met his high school friend Catherine Costello. The girl worked as a prostitute and was better known by her assumed name of Wren. It turned out that Catherine was pregnant by one of her clients, but Fred was not embarrassed by this. Between them began an affair. November 17th of the same year, the girl married West and moved to live with him in the Scottish town of Cottbridge. In 1963, Costello gave birth to a baby girl who was named Charmaine Carroll. West adopted her, and after another year, he had a biological daughter, Anne Marie. During the same period, Fred committed his first murder. Working as an ice cream truck driver, he hit a 4-year-old boy. After the tragedy occurred, the West couple decided to leave the town. Together with a friend Costello Ann McFall and nanny Isa McNeil, they moved to Gloucestershire. Here, Fred got a job at a slaughterhouse, which only increased his attraction to blood and violence. During that period, West began to be fascinated by sadomasochistic pornography. The man wanted to both dominate and submit, but his wife flatly refused to participate in anything like that. Soon, along with McNeil, she fled from him to Scotland. To stay and care for the girls agreed Anne McFall, who was madly in love with Fred. Between them began an affair. The girl became pregnant and demanded that West divorced his wife, who continued to visit the children every few months. West was not satisfied with this state of affairs, so he decided to eliminate Anne. Fred killed her when she was 8 months pregnant. Before dismembering and burying the body, he cut off all the fingers and toes to make the body harder to identify. Young Fred and Rose back. His wife Fred never managed. In 1967, Catherine Costello left him finally. But a year later, the man met a new love, British Rosemary Letts, which at that time was only 15 years old. Fred then turned 27, and he was still officially married to Costello. Despite this, not even a year after meeting him, young Rosemary came to live with him, and even a few months later, the couple bought a 2-story house in Midland Road, Gloucester. The Letts family was against the relationship, but they were unable to dissuade their daughter. In Fred, Rose saw a kindred spirit. They had both suffered serious trauma as children. According to their testimony, given to the police later, Rosemary molested his own father, suffering from paranoid schizophrenia, and West, his mother. As a child, the girl was also intimate with her own brother. In addition, by her 14th birthday, Rosemary had already been raped by 2 men. West's father was also not a gift. According to Fred, he regularly engaged in incestuous liaisons with his daughters, and the boy was trained from an early age in various atrocities. In 1970, Rosemary gave Fred a daughter, whom they named Heather Ann. In the same year, West was sent to prison for theft, but in 1971 he was released. When he returned home, he was surprised. In a fit of rage, Rosemary killed his stepdaughter, Charmaine Carroll, because she refused to cry. Daughters were regularly beaten, and the girl's refusal to cry, regardless of the severity of the blows inflicted on her, made Rosemary very angry. The man always disliked Charmaine, constantly beat her and raped her, so the news of her death did not upset him much. He even helped Rose dispose of the body. For everyone else, they invented a legend that Charmaine was taken by her own mother. After a while, Catherine did indeed come for her daughter, so Fred and Rose had to kill her as well. Since Fred was now no longer burdened by his marriage to Catherine, he and Rosemary legitimized their relationship. Then her husband gave her an idea of how she could have fun and earn money. Fred offered her to engage in prostitution and even promised to look for clients. Rose liked the idea. As a result, in their house appeared in the guest room, in which the girl received men. Fred made a small hole in the wall to watch everything that happens, and outside over the door hung a special lamp over the door. If it glowed red, the children understood that the mother is busy, and in the room now it is better not to go in. Rosemary Letts. In 1972, Rosemary gave birth to Fred's second daughter, who was named Mae West. The couple decided to move to a bigger house. Now the building, located at 25 Cromwell Street, is often called D. If you are reading this inscription, then someone took this article from bigpicture.ru omom horror. This is the place where the most horrible and violent crimes took place, and it all started with the hiring of a 16-year-old nanny, Caroline Roberts, who was picked up by a couple on the road one night. The girl confessed that she had run away from her stepfather, and Fred and Rose promised to take care of her. In return, Caroline was to take care of their children. The girl immediately sensed something amiss when she saw crowds of men passing through Rose's room. But the couple explained that she works as a masseuse and takes clients at home. Later, Caroline's suspicions about the inadequacy of the family only increased. Once Fred said that if she suddenly gets pregnant, he could easily give her an abortion. The man admitted that he had done it more than once, and the girls eventually were so grateful to him that they offered their sexual services as a reward. When Rose and Fred offered Caroline to join their sex circle, the girl was frightened and ran away. But a few weeks later, the couple met her again on the same road. They apologized to Caroline and invited her for a cup of tea to somehow make amends. Roberts believed in the sincerity of her former employers and agreed to go to visit them. After the promised cup of tea, Fred and Rose tied up the girl and brutally abused her. The couple promised that if she resisted, they would throw her into the basement and call some of Rose's clients so that they could also have fun. Caroline quickly realized that it was dangerous to argue with this family and allowed them to do whatever they wanted. Also, the girl allegedly agreed to work for them again as a nanny. Only after that, Caroline was released. The unfortunate managed to escape and report the incident to the police, but the couple convinced the jury that it was not rape, but consensual sex. As a result, they were fined £50 for indecent exposure. Fred and Rose. In her first year in her new home, 8-year-old Anne-Marie was sexually victimized by her parents. Fred and Rose took the girl to the basement where her father raped her, and her mother watched. After that, her parents did not let Anne go to school for several days and threatened to kill her if she said anything to her friends. Subsequently, Fred and Rose will repeatedly abuse their own daughter. At that time worked in their house nanny Linda Gooch. It is not known what conflict occurred between her and the couple, but later she was also found dead, with her fingers and toes cut off. Rosemary, meanwhile, gave birth to Fred's first son, Stephen West. But the appearance of another child did not affect the cravings of the couple. Admired for their success in murder, Fred and Rose kidnap a 15-year-old girl, rape her, and kill her. The corpse is buried near their home, in fact, like all previous bodies. That same year, The couple kidnap a young girl, Lucy Partington, from a bus stop. They abuse her for a whole week and then do the same thing they did to her predecessors. Between April 1974 and April 1975, 3 more girls suffer a similar fate. In 1977, the West family converted the second floor of the house into living quarters, which they rented out to tenants. Among them was 18-year-old Shirley Robinson, who had previously worked as a prostitute. The girl turned out to be bisexual and maintained an intimate relationship with both Rosemary and Fred. From West, she even got pregnant, but his wife did not like it, and she asked her husband to eliminate the rival. By the way, in the same period, Rosemary was also pregnant. True, not from West, but from one of his clients. Total for years of marriage with Fred girl gave birth to 7 children. 3 were from him, 3 more from clients, and 1 from her own father. Daddy Rose often went to visit them, and with Fred's permission to have fun with his daughter, Rosemary West, and her children. Fred and Rose's children were well aware of what was going on in this creepy house. Their daughter Mae West later gave an interview in which she spoke candidly about her life during those years. "My childhood home was most of the time ordinary, normal. We watched TV together, celebrated birthdays, went on vacations. My mom baked fantastic cakes." According to Mae, her father had a favorite cartoon, Bombi. Fred West said his heart was literally torn apart when the mother reindeer died. However, both Mae and her sisters realized that their family was not like others, but they were ashamed to tell others about it. Besides, they were afraid of losing their only home, so they just tolerated everything that happened. The girls always slept in their clothes and guarded each other in the shower because they knew, at any moment, their father could come to them. As for strangers, constantly being in the house, their sisters almost never saw them because enterprising Fred and Rose invented a separate entrance for them. But here in the closets, they constantly found other people's clothes, which their mother sometimes allowed them to play. Only after the arrest of her parents and the publicity of the whole story, Mae realized that she had been playing with the things of the murdered women. Fred and Rose were arrested in 1993 after the police became aware of their daughter's rape. The girl complained about her father to her school friend, and he in turn told her mother. Unfortunately, the rape case collapsed then, as the 2 main witnesses refused to testify at the trial. But a year later, police obtained a search warrant for the West home in the case of Heather Ann's disappearance. Then, in the backyard of the couple, managed to find not only Heather's body, but also the remains of many other people. In 1994, a trial was held, at which Fred was accused of 11 murders and Rose in 10. Both received life sentences. In 1995, Fred West was found dead in his cell. Rosemary West is still serving her sentence. If you like this story, subscribe to the channel and put a thumbs up. Look forward to more stories from the team of our channel. This is Criminal.